talk about rooting coleus in water. So I've been propagating coleus in water successfully for the past 2 years, and I've learned a couple of different things that will help you to perfectly root your plant in water. So rooting coleus cuttings in water is a wonderful, enjoyable and straightforward way to expand your indoor garden or outdoor garden as well. This propagation method allows you to watch the roots develop in real time, which not only is absolutely fascinating, but it is highly educational as well. Whether you are a beginner gardener or you are looking to add more wonderful colors to your indoor space, follow this video in order to ensure that your coleus cuttings root perfectly in water and they are healthy before you start to transplant them in soil. Why choose coleus out of all the indoor plants? Well, coleus is absolutely my favorite. It is a vibrant, lush plant, and it is known for its stunning foliage that comes in a variety of colors and patterns. It's not only beautiful, but it's also relatively easy to grow and propagate, making it a wonderful choice among beginner and experienced gardeners. Key to successfully propagating a coleus is in the cutting, and this is the first step in the propagation, is to select the right stem to cut. You want to choose a healthy, robust stem with no signs of disease, no signs of pests or weaknesses, and start to look for stems that are relatively young but mature enough to have several sets of leaves. Start by taking the coleus cuttings in 3 steps. Step 1, prepare your tools. So sterilize your scissors or your gardening knife to prevent it spreading any disease to your cuttings or mother plant. I usually just use a disinfectant wipe and then I sterilize that way. Step 2 is to cut the stem. So I want you to go ahead and identify a section of the stem that is about 4 to 6 inches long. Make a clean cut just below the leaf node, and the leaf node is where the point on the stem where the leaves start to emerge. Prepare your cutting. So remove the leaves from the lower half of the cutting to ensure that none of the leaves are submerged when placed in water, because this can lead the whole cutting to rot and the operation to fail miserably. We have the process of rooting in water. So choose the right container. Preferably use a clean, clear glass or a jar so you can easily observe the roots development without having to remove the stem and check for the roots every now and then. And this will not only allow you to check on the progress of the rooting, but will also spot any potential issues early. You're going to fill the container with room temperature water or just enough to submerge the nodes exactly where you remove the leaves, and avoid using too cold or too hot water because that will lead the cutting to have like a shock, and it will also stop the growth as well. If the coleus plant does not require direct sunlight to root, place the cuttings in a bright indirect light setting. This will really help to encourage faster root growth. Another thing that you could do that I've also tried personally is to place it under a grow light if you have. If you don't have, then you could also try place a pothos cutting as well with the coleus cutting. That will also help to speed up the root formation and will ensure healthy, strong roots as well. The key here is to replace the water every few days. This will make sure that it's fresh. This will make sure it's free from bacteria, because bacteria can quickly develop from the air, from the other plants as well, and this really does harm the cuttings and it really pauses the root development as well. What you do after the roots have started to develop? So once the coleus cutting has developed a good network of roots, which typically takes around 2 to 4 weeks, it's now ready to be transplanted into the soil. Go ahead and prepare the potting mix. So choose a well-draining potting mix that is suitable for indoor plants. And now comes the transplanting phase. So you're going to carefully plant the rooted cutting in the soil, and you're going to ensure that all the roots are well covered but not overly deep. So that you keep the soil moist and you place the pot in a location where it gets bright indirect light. Avoid direct sunlight because this can really hurt the tender new roots as well, and it can also hurt the leaves. Now before we enter this video, there are 3 tips for absolute success. Tip number 1 is to be patient. because it can take longer for the roots to develop, and you want to make sure that there are a strong system network of roots before transplanting to soil as well. Depending on the conditions, depending on the health of the cuttings, depending on what you've used to help in speed the root development, all this depends on so much different things, and eventually within 2 to 4 weeks the roots will start to show. Another thing is, it's important to monitor for any sort of sign of pests or diseases. Keep an eye out for problems with the cuttings, because healthy cuttings are more likely to develop robust roots as well. One thing that I've noticed as well is that unhealthy cuttings within the first week will tend to either go moldy, or the stem will be very tender and it will fail miserably. So please check on the stems after the first week regularly as well. Replace the water every 2 to 3 days preferably, and that will really help in making sure that you get a good root system in place. So you can also use a rooting hormone. So dip the cut end of the cutting in rooted hormone before placing it in water. This will help to enhance rooting success as well. You can use a commercial based rooting hormone. You can also use cinnamon as well. You could use aloe vera, and that really applies for when you are transplanting the cutting in soil, rather than when you are trying to go through growing the roots in the water. So we've come towards the end of today's video, and rooting coleus cuttings in water is a wonderful, fun and effective way to propagate this wonderful plant. Just a little bit of patience and care, you can create a thriving garden of coleus plants from just a few cuttings. Enjoy the process and the satisfaction of watching your new plants grow from such simple beginnings. I'll see you in the next one.